that leads to a bigger problem and then a bigger problem, and then it's a domino effect because you're not expressing. If you express, then maybe you can communicate with your partner and solve that problem.
Hello everyone, how are you doing? Welcome to MindPod. Our guest today is Mohammad al-Shafi'i, who is a translator and is also an online trader. He's one of the people I've known who truly knows how to carry the title of being an open book. And you will see that in a few seconds. So let's invite him in. Hi Mohammad.
Hey Sarah, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
I'm great actually.
Perfect. So your name is Mohammad, but we refer you as Mido.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna call him Mido in this episode. All right. So Mido, with you today, we're gonna talk about what is expressing and what does that look like. And my first question to you is, how comfortable do you think you are in terms of expressing what you're feeling or what you're thinking? Let's start from that.
Well, I actually feel that I'm very comfortable to a point where sometimes it gets me into trouble. So yeah, I believe I'm very comfortable. There are certain things that one should always be like cautious when he expresses. Like you need to always think of other people's feelings, make sure you don't hurt other people. And sometimes I slip and I say what's on my mind, and then I express that thing, and it might hurt some people. I try not to, but to answer your question, I think I'm very expressive.
Okay, so what kind of, let's say, what is it that you're expressing that could upset someone?
An opinion, of course. I believe I'm opinionated when it comes to many stuff, and I like to state my opinion. Some people accept it, some people don't, and it also depends on the way I express. Of course, this is why expressing things or also the way of communication is an art by itself, which people learn throughout years. Like, so it takes you years to learn how to communicate properly in certain areas, or when it comes to certain subjects. So this is why people study, why people try to always gain more knowledge about things before they just say their opinion about it. And I think this is part of why people might be hurt by some opinions, because they believe the person in front of them is just saying an opinion without actually thinking, or without knowing that, or without having the knowledge of that exact subject they're talking about.
What does that mean?
Like, you're just saying an opinion, but you don't have facts to back it up.
So what do you think of people who still want to express their opinion when they don't have facts?
Well, freedom of speech is crucial, okay? I believe everyone has a right to say whatever they want, but as I mentioned before, you are, like, if you cross people's boundaries, if you hurt people, then you should stop. It's not your freedom anymore. It's not your it's not a freedom of speech anymore. You're hurting people. So as long as you don't have the facts, as long as your argument is a false argument, or it doesn't have basis, then you shouldn't express it, or you should keep it to yourself. And I'm saying that I'm not perfect. No one is perfect. Sometimes we do that. People make mistakes. People say stuff. But I personally always try to back my argument, or if I want to say something, then there should be a reason why I'm saying it, or I should know what I'm saying, actually,
Right.
or where it can lead, how it can make the person in front of me feel.
Yeah.
Like you calculate all that before you just express.
How do you do that while you're having conversation?
Well, you need to have, you need to think. You need to always think while you're speaking. It's an art and it's a practice. It's a talent, of course. Some people are faster than other people, but it's something you can practice actually. And you're just you just have your opinions. Everyone has his opinions, and it's not that you forget your opinions. You know your opinions. You know them by heart. They shape you. They shape what you are. So yeah, it's not something that you need to actively think about because it's part of you. You just need to have an order to the things that you want to say. You need to put them in order, say them in the right way, in order for it to sound correct, or in order for the person in front of you to understand in the first place, and to maintain a positive atmosphere, like while conversing with the person in front of you.
So, what are the orders you follow when you're speaking with someone?
You need to listen. You need to be an active listener, I think, and you need to use phrases that show the person in front of you that you are listening. Okay, and you're not just saying your opinion or expressing because you're the center of the whole argument. You need to actually talk to people in a way that make them feel that you respect them. Okay, and that you're listening to them, and it's not only about you. So you always, for example, you always need to say, I understand, I listen if someone is frustrated with you.
So that's like acknowledging.
Yeah, you need to acknowledge the presence, and you need to acknowledge uh, what the person in front of you is saying, even though if you don't agree with the person, you don't have to agree with the person 100%. I mean, but you still need to show respect. I think it should be mutual, of course. If someone is disrespecting you, then it's different.
Right. So you're saying that even in expressing opinion, there is a way to show respect and disagree and have that conversation.
100%.
Yeah. So other than expressing opinion, I do see you're really good at expressing how you feel. You're very honest and open about it verbally. So that's not something I quite see on a regular basis in people. So, what got you to be very comfortable being able to share what you're currently feeling with other people?
Okay, so to answer that, I should highlight something. Like, I think it's culturally related. So in different cultures, people have different ways or forms to express themselves. Some cultures are more expressive than other cultures. Uh, in the Arab culture in general, I believe that we are emotionally expressive, but there are some taboos, okay, that are not spoken of, like are forbidden in a way, like you're not allowed to talk about them. So even if you are expressive in nature, or you like to express, or you know how to express yourself, sometimes you face difficulties when it comes to those topics. You know what I mean? And I grew up in a family where I could express myself. For example, I think because I traveled also a lot, it helped me kind of know other cultures and learn their way of expressing. Uh, I think that helped me a lot. In addition to that, language is a very important thing. So I believe if you learn a new language, you always learn to think in a different way. Think in the way that think in the way of the language. For example, if you know French, then you'll think the same way people in France do.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
it's related to the culture.
Yeah. I feel like there are different skills that you use when you're expressing. One is the vocabulary, like you mentioned, and then the other one is your body language.
Yeah.
And the third one is whether the emotion that you're feeling or a thought that you have is negative,
Mm-hmm.
how to express it in a way where it can be taken seriously and it's not toxic. So like you kind of have to be comfortable with that emotion in order for you to be able to express it outwards.
This is very interesting what you just said. The thing is, there was a phase in my life where I always tried to push myself to be positive. But I think that's wrong. I think you should always be able to express what you really feel, because otherwise you're lying to yourself, or you're pushing yourself to feel something that you're not feeling.
Mm,
So when it comes to expressing negative things in a positive light, it's important. It's important when you can do it. But if you're frustrated, if you're angry, you can be angry. It's legitimate. It's an emotion that you're
mm,
feeling. You can be it. You know.
mm.
Now you're talking about vocabulary and body language. Vocabulary is very important. So someone can say something actually with like very simple words, okay, and then another person can say the same exact thing with more like advanced or like more like fancy words,
Yeah.
and it might they're both the same, but they will both have different feelings. They will make you feel different
Mm,
about the subject.
mm-hmm.
So vocabulary is very important, and the choice of words is very important. Body language is, of course, also important, because depending on how much you can read people from their movement or their body language, it can tell you a lot about how they feel, how genuine they are about what
Mm,
they're saying. If it's truth, if it's not truth, you know,
mm.
it,
Yeah.
it can tell you.
Right. Yeah. So you brought up this example of like anger. It's okay to feel angry. And like for example, for yourself, do you know how much you can control what you're feeling? Because there are different levels of anger, right? So how much do you think is your like control over the emotion of anger, and then when does it kind of like go out of control?
Better. I can be better. It's definitely something that I'm working on.
Uh-huh.
It's continuous work. It's not something that you just master and then it stays with you. It's there. Like I have a temper sometimes. It comes, but I try to control it. I try to work on that. You know, like
Mm,
you need to slow your mind down. Like you need to slow your thoughts down,
mm-hmm.
and like to be able to control them. Like be in control. You know, before the words actually come out. You know,
Mm.
like you need to stop it. You know? You need to be
Yeah.
faster on the thought and the word.
So it's like a immigration where like you line up, all the words line up in your head, and then you let some pass and you don't let some pass. It's like filtering kind of.
Yeah, you need to filter, but you need to filter your thoughts, because thought is like thought comes before the action of speaking. You know?
Mm-hmm,
There's
mm-hmm.
thought involved.
Yeah. So for you, Mido, like you're more on the expressive side, you're okay expressing. There are people who don't express.
Mm.
What do you see that you feel like, oh, when you don't express, you're missing out on this?
Well, I think I find it really hard not to express. So I don't really know how people can somehow suppress the emotions, because you're expressing emotions, you know. So
Mm,
you're missing out on being able to articulate what you feel, what you think. So you're suppressing yourself by yourself.
mm.
There's
Yeah.
no like there's no one like pointing a gun to your head and telling you not to say what you want to say. Okay.
Mm,
As I said, there are some stuff better not said. But if it's something like in a relationship, for example, you don't express. then there's a problem,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not expressing how you're feeling. That leads to a bigger problem, and then a bigger problem, and then it's a domino effect, because you're not expressing. If you express, then maybe you can communicate with your partner and solve that problem.
Yeah, can I just add, if you express it in a healthy way.
Of course, of course, of course.
Mm-hmm.
We agree on that. And not only in a relationship, for example, at work, if you feel that you're overworked, like if you feel that you're being used, people are gonna keep using you because you don't say anything, because you don't express.
Mm.
Maybe it's out of fear, maybe it's out of many
Oh,
many other reasons, but you have to be able to express. And there are ways to express without getting yourself into trouble and without hurting people. So there
mm.
are ways to express, um, and you don't need to just suppress yourself, as I said, and not express at all. And you don't need to be like an extreme person who expresses everything he thinks.
Right. Yeah. So you know me though, I come from a background where expressing is very minimal. I feel like Japanese people, or like if you were brought up in that tradition, expressing certain feelings or certain thoughts are just not something that was paid attention to. So I was more on a low expressing person in the spectrum of expressing. And I had to put a lot of work in voicing myself. And it is a lot of work. It's not easy. Yeah, it's there's a lot of challenge. You feel like you're kind of exposing yourself out there, and it's like a risk you take to see what kind of feedback you're gonna get, because you're not always going to get a positive, or someone's always going to agree with you. There's going to be disagreement. Conversations can get very serious. There's also this thing where people want to be right.
Yeah, right.
Some people are not willing to be wrong, you know so I feel like there's a lot of things in expressing,
Mm.
especially when it's genuine and honest, because that can also put you in a vulnerable position.
Yeah, yeah.
you know
See, to comment on what you just said, I mentioned before that it's a cultural thing. That cultures affect that. The house affects that. Your upbringing, like where you were raised, the environment you were raised in. That all affects your ability to express, or how confident you are to express. It also has a lot to do with confidence, and this is why I think it's very important to express, because when we're younger, okay, we all like, when we're younger, we're not as confident as when we get bigger, older. Like when you get older, you get more confident. You go through experiences, you learn stuff, you become more confident. Some people are born confident since they're young, of course, but I believe that with age you gain more experience, you gain more confidence in yourself and in what you do, and in what you know.
mm,
And that should help you be able to express what you think. Now, uh, if you stay on the non-expressing part of the spectrum, as you just said, uh, that's gonna affect your whole life, in my opinion, because it's gonna affect your personality. It's gonna affect how you are. You're gonna be that person who's not able to express themselves. You know.
mm-hmm.
So I think it's a loss for a person not to be able to express themselves. And of course, I'm not blaming the people who do not express themselves. There are reasons,
mm,
but these reasons you can overcome
mm,
with confidence, with knowledge, with learning new things, with like being more social, being more open to people, even having more trust in people around you. Because some people are afraid because they don't trust anything. They're paranoid.
Mm.
You know, that's part of it, I think.
Yeah, I do agree with all the things that you explained why it's important to express and what they can miss out on. But I want to go back a little bit before that when you said, as we are kids, we kind of start building confidence when we become adults. I think at some point we were naturally confident when we were kids, when we're still in that exploration, curious space where everything is interesting and you ask a lot of questions. You don't even know if that question is appropriate, but as you age, you kind of see the social structure, and based on that you kind of see what's appropriate and what's not appropriate.
That's true.
Yeah.
But you somehow carry some stuff. Like sometimes you're stopped when you're a kid, and then like if they stop you from asking, if they kind of like bring you down, like they put a limit to your
Yes.
freedom of expression.
Yes.
And then you carry that with you,
Exactly.
and then that's a boundary you have to break
Mm.
when you grow older, or like if you can break it then do it, but maybe you don't have the confidence to break it then because they stopped you. They have authority over you. You're a kid.
Exactly. Yes. And that's when you start kind of molding yourself into what social norm or social appropriation is.
Or rebel. You can always rebel.
Or rebel when it's too much. Right. So I think what you're saying is, as you grow older, like when it comes to like our age, like in the 30s or something, you kind of balance out what are the borders that you should break, which wasn't built because of you.
You map out your borders. You draw your
Yes.
borders. No one draws them for you.
Exactly. Yeah. And then there's some things that you might create a border, because it's
Because you don't feel comfortable, or you don't want to, or whatever reason. But it's your freedom. It's your choice.
exactly.
And if you're more able to express, like if you have the ability to express, then you can also articulate or say, for example, you wanna talk to me about something, and I don't want to talk to you about it. If I'm expressive enough, if I can express, then I can tell you why I don't want to talk about it. But if I'm shy, if I shy out, sorry, then I'll be like, I just don't want to talk about it. It might make me nervous. It might make me nervous. It might make me uncomfortable, and then angry or whatever. Then it's all negative,
From my experience, I've been inexpressive before, and now I've started to sort of become more on the expressive side. I can tell that when you're more on the expressive side, not too much, but like when you find that balance, you really start seeing what trust is. And what I mean by that is that you're trusting to say something to another person with something that you're maybe like vulnerable with, or with some emotions that's sensitive, right? And then how people respond to that. And so far, of course, after the work that I've put, which is being able to articulate exactly what I'm feeling, and being able to be open with my intentions and where I want this to go and things like that, basically working on my communication skills has brought me to be able to know that when you're able to express anything, that person can genuinely receive it, and they will also take actions to make sure that you're gonna feel better, so you don't feel lonely.
100%. And to add to that, people who don't speak the same language. I'm a translator. Language is something I really like. I really like to study language and learn new languages if I can. Language is very important. If two people don't speak the same language, okay, there are going to be definitely more problems, because they're not able to express themselves. They're not able to understand what the other person is trying to say. So maybe you're telling me, okay, what you feel, okay, but I'm not receiving, like I'm not receiving that feeling. I'm not receiving how you're feeling. Maybe I'm receiving the general idea, but I don't know how to make things better or how to solve a problem because I don't have the details. I don't understand the full picture.
Right.
And because you're saying when you learned how to communicate better, okay, it helped you deliver your message or convey your message in a better way, of course. So that's just a comment on what you were just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And that built my confidence.
Of course, of course.
And of course, the first or the second or the third time I wasn't the best.
You need to fail in order to succeed, like in things.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, as I said, we express ourselves poorly, and that leads to problems or hurting.
Yeah. And, but Mido, actually, there are things like no matter how much you try to put it in a nice way, some things will definitely hurt when it's being expressed.
If you have to express them, you have to express them. If it's a necessity, in your opinion, because you drew those boundaries. We said, like, we draw our own boundaries. You
Yeah.
drew those boundaries. And if it's within your boundaries and you feel it's important to you, then you'll express it and you'll bear with the consequences.
Yeah. I think it's a decision that you will have to make. Yeah, expressing that. So earlier on, you said that sometimes I get in trouble because I express. What are the trouble like that you can get? I don't know. I haven't experienced that yet.
You can be misunderstood. You can be misunderstood, and then it can make someone sad, angry. Then there's a confrontation. There's the confrontational part of expressing. Then you have to confront that person, or that person has to confront you. Like, like like you have to believe in what you're saying in order for you to be able to defend what you said.
If you believe in a matter and it has facts, it's very easy to communicate
Yeah,
that.
because the facts are there, and you can't just play with the facts. They're facts.
Yeah, but then when they're not facts,
When they're not facts, then they're what? They're emotions. What are they?
yeah, it could be emotions, it could be, your experience.
Yeah, but people see things differently. An opinion is part of how I see things, right? Maybe you see things differently, and we don't have to agree, but we don't have to fight also. And maybe we'll find a middle ground. So to add to your question, you said like what kinds of troubles. Sometimes if you're expressing something, it might lead to embarrassment to the person in front of you or to yourself. Like you might be embarrassed because why did I say that? Like I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, that's a really good point because you can never take back words.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Bullet.
Yeah. I do remember certain things people have told me, and it might have been very casual for them, but I mean, some were very positive that I remember, but some are really negative that might have created some borders, that might have, altered me, not in a healthier way. So, yes, being able to express your own is a good thing, but also just being a bit more considerate to how the other person might take that and carry it is also important to consider.
Yeah, definitely. As I said, words can hurt, and you can't take them back. Uh, it's a hard equation, but it's a decision you need to make, as you said.
Yeah,
And you
absolutely.
need to think. You need to think. The thing is, sometimes you say something, you hurt someone, and you don't know that you hurt the person, but
Mm-hmm.
the person knows and feels.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you don't know the how harsh your words were.
Mm-hmm.
You're not aware of that. So
Yeah.
you need to think. You need to put yourself in the other person's shoes, I think,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and that's a good way. That's a good way to kind of balance or know what you should say and what you shouldn't say. If you
Mm.
put yourself in the other person's shoes and have some empathy.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any advice on people who may be struggling with being able to articulate um, and communicate and express?
An advice is try it once or try it more than once. Try to communicate what you feel. Uh, it's not going to be the best. You might feel embarrassed. You might feel shy. You might not feel like your best. But it's definitely going to change something, and it's definitely going to teach you something. And if you continue doing it, it's going to change a lot in your life, like a lot. And if you're not expressing your emotions, if you're suppressing them, okay, then you're harming yourself.
Mm.
It's not healthy. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it's a healthy thing.
Yeah, I'd also like to add, I really like what you said about you don't only express positive things, so acknowledging negatives as well is also very important.
Yeah, it is. It is because they exist. Like
Yeah,
there are negative things. We might feel sad. We might feel angry. We might feel all those emotions, and
yeah,
we all do. We're humans at the end of the day. Have a positive approach towards things and not think in the negative sense of it. You know,
yeah. I think I get
try
you.
try to stay positive.
Yeah, I think I get you. So you can be positive and look into negativity as well.
Yeah, yeah. And at the end, expressing is not a bad thing. It's not a harmful thing.
Oh, I think it's an awesome thing.
Yeah. So let's not look at it that way.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I'm sure me and you,
we're on the same page.
yeah,
Yeah,
we
that's
will
cool.
express. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Mido, for joining me today.
You're
Good
welcome.
seeing you.
That was my pleasure. Good to see you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
So, if you are interested in online trading and can understand Arabic, you can find Mido's YouTube channel link in the description. So, check it out. Thank you for tuning in. What are your thoughts on expressing? And how well do you do it? My name is Sarah, and until next time.